So, I initially saw this from someone else on Discord, so I thought it was fake, but I guess he's really retiring, huh? Your boy's in the house, and welcome to today's episode where I'm going to talk about Charles Martinet, the legendary voice of Nintendo Super Mario. I've seen a lot of talk about this recently in reaction to the announcement made by Nintendo on X, or otherwise known as Twitter, and a lot of videos covering this topic were already uploaded to YouTube before I even got the word myself. To viewers who are subscribed to me already, I want to thank you for sticking around despite my inability to keep up with similar channels who are able to upload much quicker than I can. Since I'm a small channel with the role of project manager, writer, editor, and designer, I have a lot on my plate. My project manager self thinks, hey, there's news that's worth talking about for a video, let's jump in on this right away, while the other three mindsets think, again? We already have more than one video in the works! But as a lifelong Mario fan, I felt that I needed to jump in on this discussion. Now, for those of you who aren't subscribed yet, do consider hitting the subscribe button and the bell to get notifications for those cute videos. It's way more convenient than having to constantly check in. For as long as many of us can remember, we've heard Charles Martinet behind the voice of Mario, Luigi, Wario, and Waluigi whenever we boot up almost any of the games. I briefly talked about Mario's role for Nintendo projects over the years in my review for the Super Mario Bros. Movie. I'll link you to that in a YouTube card and in the description if you'd like to check that out. The character was first described to Charles Martinet as an Italian plumber from Brooklyn, New York, but I heard that instead of a grungy voice of a hard-working blue-collar job holder, Charles Martinet decided to go with a much more friendly and happy-sounding voice, knowing children were going to play Mario games.
I don't want a character that's mean or gruff or has edges. I want it to be someone who is lovable and a sort of everyman character. Hello, it's me, Mario! Woohoo!
That became the unique voice that made the character. Parents and relatives of children have looked at Mario since the 90s and thought, if I like Mario, I'm sure the kids will love him too. That's how many fans, including myself, got introduced to the franchise. But now that 3 decades have passed, Charles Martinet is ready to move on from voice acting in the games. So I asked myself, who's going to voice Mario now? I initially thought of Chris Pratt.
Koopas!
But if Chris Pratt were to voice Mario in the games too, I predict the complaints we've initially heard in response to the movie cast announcement making a comeback. Although Chris Pratt made it into the new movie, everyone and their parents are already familiar with Mario's unique voice from the games, which does not sound anything like movie Mario's voice at all. After concluding that Chris Pratt can't be the successor, I put myself in Nintendo's shoes and came up with 3 options for a replacement. 1. Hire a new voice actor who best matches Mario's voice. 2. Reuse audio clips of Charles Martinet's voice for each character. 3. Utilize AI. Let me start with the details for the second option. If you played plenty of Mario games, you probably heard some characters grunting, expressing disappointment, or saying particular lines in the exact same way. That's because Nintendo reuses voice recordings. I imagine they categorize sounds a character can make and save the pre-recordings to reuse them in future games. This saves everyone time and the effort needed to make new sounds. However, if Mario makes the exact same grunt sound all the time, or has a limited set of recordings that allow him to say, Mamma Mia! People will eventually realize it like I did. The idea of using the same exact sounds indefinitely makes Mario seem more like a robot and less human. So it works on occasion, but doesn't seem like the best option to continue Mario's voice from here onward. Meanwhile, AI technology has been all the rage among businesses and individual people, especially nowadays. Developments have reached a point where you can reproduce the voice of a fictional character or an actual human, living or dead, and have them say about anything you want in a text-to-speech like mechanism. Although many of those AI voice impressions are nowhere near perfect, today's tech has the potential to be a viable option. Say Nintendo goes with this idea, they don't need to hire another voice actor at all to have Mario say anything. They will, however, need to source AI by either developing it in-house or referring to a third-party partner. But it looks like Nintendo already planned to go with the first option prior to making the X announcement. I heard from a friend of mine that Charles Martinet was actually not involved with the production of the upcoming Super Mario Bros. Wonder. In the debut trailer, we already hear a Mario voice that sounds similar, if not the same, as Charles Martinet's. I personally think hiring another human voice actor really is the most optimal path overall. A real human can be able to continue Mario's ability to say new lines, or make new sounds, that won't sound exactly the same every time. Additionally, today's technology allows for audio experts to make the new voice sound even more like Charles Martinet's if they really want it to be a close match. Since the expected release of Super Mario Bros. Wonder won't be until October 20th, 2023, I guess we'll be wondering who the new voice actor is until then. Sorry, I just saw the opportunity. As for Charles Martinet himself, I wish him luck on his future endeavors. I'm relieved to hear that he's not completely removing himself from Mario, as he will be moving on to the role of Mario Ambassador, meaning he'll still be around. And although the X post made it clear, it also mentioned an upcoming video message from Shigeru Miyamoto for more details. I'm definitely looking forward to that. Anyway, that is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, do give it a like and comment down your thoughts on Charles Martinet's retirement. Also, do share what you think the future of Mario's voice holds. I'd be happy to hear your input. Until next time everyone, I'm out the sauce.